It's just not working. Huh. Hi, Alaskan dude. Hang on just a second. Trying to get things going here. Having a little bit of a delay. Trying to get a link to my YouTube, my stream, so that I can send it to my Twitter, but my YouTube app ain't cooperating. No, it's not. It doesn't see my new stream. I don't. It doesn't see it. It doesn't see it, and I don't know why. That's very strange. Very strange indeed. Unbelievable. 7th, you are echoing horribly. Are you sure it's echo and not just reverb? I'll look and see if I'm... Can you hear me? Just testing things out here. Sound like I'm speaking from the great beyond. I mean, there should be a little bit of a reverb, but there shouldn't be like an echo, echo, echo. Because I'm in a big cavernous room with a 20-foot tall ceiling. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm still trying to get it to where, for some reason, my YouTube app on my phone is not picking up the fact that I'm streaming. Because I was trying to get the link to my stream, and it's not wanting to do it. I'm not even... I'm not even signed into any of my apps on here anymore. All my cookies have apparently been cleared, and it's logged me out of all my crap. And for whatever reason, my YouTube app can't tell the fact that I'm live streaming right now. It just doesn't see it. And I don't know why. Oh well, I guess the people on Twitter aren't going to know that I'm streaming. Nothing else that I can do about it. So we'll be getting going here in a minute here. No, the TV's not uneven. It's just the perspective of the way I'm sitting and the way the angle, the camera is done. This is a very rushed performance today, folks. Very rushed. So, things aren't perfect, but better than no stream at all, right? Better than no stream at all. So, it is 6 o'clock. It is Saturday, June 8th, 2024. And this is the 7th Cast. As always, I'm your venerable host, your friendly neighborhood 7th. 8th is upstairs, either in one of his 3 bedrooms or in his own game room up there somewhere. So as you can see, I am in the new house, Casa de 7th 3.0. And we've gotten most of it done. As you can see behind me, still have some things left to do. We need to get some more boxes cleaned out. Got some cabling to do to hook up some stuff. But for the most part, everything is done. So things are looking pretty good. Things were not looking pretty good on May 24th. Because on May 23rd, my buddy Brian hits me up on Twitter and lets me know while I'm sitting down outside of Cedar Park, Texas, which is outside of Austin, that Temple, the town that I was planning to move to, had just been hit by a tornado. And so I'm scrambling around 60 miles away trying to find out if anything had happened here. And he sends me a social media post showing me that someone in this subdivision posted a message saying the subdivision has been destroyed. I'm thinking, oh my God, I just went 300 grand in on this house and a tornado has destroyed it. So I didn't sleep a wink all that night. And I called my manager first thing in the morning. I'm like, turn on the news. The neighborhood I'm moving to, or the town I'm moving to, just got hit by a tornado yesterday. I need to drive up there and assess the damage. So me and 8th, we hop in the Challenger and we drive up there. I come pulling in to the neighborhood. Power is out. But I'm not seeing this neighborhood is destroyed. I'm seeing houses that are still standing with maybe a couple of shingles lost here and there. And then way in the back of the neighborhood, I can see a house with its roof that's gone. The whole house is still there, but the very top of the roof has been ripped off. And I see debris all over the road. Tree branches, tree limbs, leaves, planks of wood, and shingles. Shingles everywhere. Shingles all over the road. Big sections of people's fences knocked down. So I'm thinking, oh shit, because it seems like the farther back into the neighborhood, the worse it is. And my house, the street that my house is on, is about halfway down that main strip. So we go driving through, and we take a left onto my road that ends in a cul-de-sac. Pull up to the house. Perfectly fine. Untouched. Untouched. Went into the backyard, did find one thing wrong. This house came with an old plastic, combination plastic and aluminum work shed in the back, tool shed for like keeping your lawnmower and stuff. That shed had been obliterated. It had been ripped to pieces, and the pieces thrown like throwing stars across the backyard, and they were either pressed flat against the fence or stuck inside the fence. One plank of the fence had been ripped off. Rest of the fence, fine, not even leaning. Walked around the house, checked the perimeter, no broken windows, no downed trees, no hail damage. Opened the house, went inside, went upstairs, looked out the windows, no shingle damage, nothing. Meanwhile, the house at the end of the cul-de-sac got the back of its roof blown off. The house directly next to me, right here, they had their air conditioning unit lifted up off its foundation and slammed down. Had to have their air conditioning unit replaced. Had hail damage all along that western side of the house, because what actually happened was before the tornado hit, a straight-lined wall of wind came from west to east right across the neighborhood. My house does not face west or east. My house is on the road that I'm on, dead ends in a westerly direction. My house is sitting on the side, not on the actual cul-de-sac, so the front of my house faces south, the back of my house faces north. When that westerly wind came in, it hit the houses on the cul-de-sac, which weakened it and took the brunt of it. Then a weaker swath of it hit the house to my left, which is the one that had the air conditioner and the hail damage, and then it just kind of skipped right over me. Completely skipped me. I didn't lose a single shingle. Meanwhile, the actual that was just from the straight line winds that were going like 120 miles an hour. The actual tornado formed north of my neighborhood, and it came down like this and headed east. So it clipped the north side of my neighborhood, ripped a couple of roofs off, then headed east across the highway and went right like a couple of miles down that main strip, the one that you might have seen on the news if you'd been watching Texas tornado news that week, and just tore a bunch of businesses up on either side of the road, and then went up one strip. There's a great big neighborhood back there, and it went up one road of that neighborhood and tore up all the houses on either side of that road and left the rest of it alone. And then it proceeded east again and did some damage to Temple Mall and some other stuff, and then dissipated. So, yeah. Near miss there, folks. Near miss, but as you can see, perfectly fine. So, 2 days later, on the 25th, we're scheduled to move in, right? Whole town has no power. My buddy Brian is supposed to be meeting me that day to he's going to drive the moving truck. We had so much stuff damaged when we moved to Texas, decided we're not going with a moving company. We're going to pack it all up ourselves. We're going to rent a truck, and we're going to move it ourselves. So He got delayed because, his area got hit by the tornado too, and he had other things that he had to help fix. So he was late getting to the house, and we get notified the night before by U-Haul that instead of dropping the truck off in Cedar Park, 7 miles from me, instead they dropped it off in the hill country, which is 50 miles from me, up in what passes for, the mountains of Austin. It's where all the rich people like Undertaker live, all up in there, up on those hills that surround Lake Travis or whatever. So we had to drive an hour to pick up the truck. We picked the truck up. It's got less than a fourth of a tank of gas in it. They haven't done any maintenance on it whatsoever. We had to go fill the truck up ourselves. And so then I'm following Brian back in the Challenger. He's driving the truck. We get to the old house, and Brian and two of 8th's friends, we're all loading up the truck. Eventually the truck gets loaded. We drive all the way out here, and then it ends up taking longer than expected to move everything into the house because everyone's getting exhausted because there's no electricity, hence no air conditioning, and it's 90-something degrees inside the house. That's what we slept in that night. 90-something degree heat until late into the evening. No air conditioning. 8th and I were going out to the Challenger, sitting in the Challenger and cranking up the AC for 30 minutes at a time, just burning gas, and then coming back into the house, pouring water onto rags and covering our heads with them. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. And we didn't get power back until late Sunday night. So finally, late Sunday night, the power comes back on. We're thinking, yay! We go running back into the house. We turn the air conditioning on, and it starts. This air conditioner rocks. It's got multiple thermostats, so he can keep his floor up there, whatever temperature he wants. I can keep my floor down here, whatever temperature I want. And then we think, okay, well, let's take some of these drinks that we've got, and we'll put them in the fridge so they'll get cold. So we'll have cold drinks to help cool us off. Lights come on in the lights come on in the refrigerator that came with the house, because that was part of the deal, that they would include all appliances for all kitchen appliances. So it came with the stove, the dishwasher, and the refrigerator. The lights in the refrigerator come on. Nothing else does. Nothing else does. And I get to looking in there, and when I came to tour the house all the way back in early March, it was pristine and clean inside that fridge. I opened it up. Mold. Black mold everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but, you could see it in the trim and stuff where it was starting to grow in there. Because they had turned the electricity off sooner than they had said they were going to. And so the house sat without power for, over a month. Like 2 months. The house sat without power for 2 months. So the refrigerator don't work. So 8th has his own college dorm room style refrigerator, stands about this tall, big enough to hold several drinks and cold cuts and stuff like that. So we're using it to keep a few things cold, and we're not bothering to buy groceries. So we're basically living off of cold cuts and fast food. Memorial Day comes, and we drive out to Home Depot. And even though I wasn't anticipating having to do this, I shell out $1,300 for a new refrigerator. It's a $2,000 unit. It was $700 off. It's a nice one. Makes little round ball ice cubes for your mixed drinks and stuff. It's pretty nifty. But anyway, $1,300 I wasn't anticipating having to spend. So that cuts my budget down further. Then 3 days later, air conditioner stops working. We take the filters out of the vents, try to crank and let it sit for a while, crank the thing back on, chunks of ice fall out of the vent onto the floor. Coil frozen over. And I think, oh God, I'm going to have to shell out another $1,000 or God knows what to fix this air conditioner. And they can't, this was Wednesday, they can't see us until the following Tuesday. So we go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 6 days with no air conditioning, and we're just cranking the fans as high as they can go. We've got floor fans sitting around everywhere, and we're walking around with wet rags on our heads to try to keep ourselves cool. So finally, that Thursday, the day after, the refrigerator's supposed to show up, right? So I'm thinking, well, at least we can have cold drinks if we can't have air. Well, guess what? One of the delivery guys injured himself that day, had to be taken to the ER. All the orders postponed. So now my fridge isn't coming until the day before the air conditioning guy is coming. So we're fairly miserable all weekend long, which is why I didn't stream. And finally, Monday, the refrigerator gets delivered. We have cold drinks. But that previous Sunday, my buddy Brian comes over. He knows the air conditioner ain't working. He brings us a portable air conditioner that he keeps for emergencies and cools the house down that Sunday. But he starts playing around with the air conditioner. He checks the coil. He can't find any dirt, any grime. Looks like all the ice melted off. And he checks various other things. He can't find anything wrong. So he turns it back on. It's working again. Air comes back on. But I tell him I'm not canceling the visit. If it happened before, it can happen again. So Monday, the refrigerator's finally delivered. Tuesday, the air conditioning guy comes out, and he's tinkering around. And, this house is not brand new. It's a 17-year-old house. And the air conditioner is 17 years old. It was actually built the same year that my house in Charlotte was built. And he's like, well, here's the problem. You're about a pound low on Freon. And I'm like, does that mean I have a leak? And he's like, no. He's like, this air conditioner is 17 years old. And whoever lived here before you was getting it regularly maintained. When we come out and do maintenance on an air conditioner, if we take the coil out to clean it, you lose some Freon. If we measure your Freon, you lose a little Freon. So every time a technician has come out over the last 17 years, you've lost a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. So you're about a pound low, which is that's not bad for a 17-year-old refrigerator, but it can. If you've got some clogged pipes because they haven't been cleaned in a while, it can cause things to back up and the coil will freeze over. So he fills up the Freon, tips it off, and then he goes and he blows out the condensate drain pipes. There was a bunch of black gunk in there. Clean those out, and now it works absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. And on top of that, I have a great big ginormous ceiling fan right there that I can control with this. And it's a very quiet fan, but it's very powerful. And 8th has a ceiling fan in every room up there. Every room up there has a ceiling fan. So we are finally here. Everything is working. But I ended up having to spend way more money than I intended to for this. And on top of everything else, one thing got broke in the move. And it's nobody's fault. Not blaming anybody. It's nobody's fault. The bottom main steel plate piece of 8th's gaming chair broke. We don't know how. It broke. So we get all settled in. He's setting up the computer room upstairs, and he's just kind of flopping over in his chair because that part is ripped, and so you can't sit steady in it. And eventually it's just going to fall off and break. And so I said, well, I don't have the money to buy you a new chair. So why don't you just take my chair up there, my gaming chair? So that's what he did. He took my gaming chair up there, and that's why I'm currently performing the 7thCast on one of my kitchen dinette suit chairs, which are not incredibly comfortable, I might add. Not comfortable at all. And it's going to be at least October before I'm going to be able to shell out another $400 for a quality office chair for me to sit in. Because, I'm a fat ass. These little $100 chairs that you can get on Amazon, these little gaming chairs, nah. I have to have heavy duty. I have to have a professional office chair with all the ergonomic support and all that stuff. That's what I have to have. And those are big bucks. They're $400 at least. So I will said all that to say this. I ask that you be patient with me because, these streams take a little out of me and my back as it is. But now I'm sitting on this rickety little kitchenette chair with no armrests and no lumbar support. And I'm going to be sitting on this chair every time I stream until the first check of October. Because in October is when my car gets paid off, and that's $500 a month I won't be spending on the car anymore. Won't be spending that on the car anymore. And so that will put me back up to the same amount of spending money that I had before I bought this house. But for the time being, for the next several months, it's slim pickings. So I'm not asking anybody to donate to replace my chair. But what I will say is the last time we streamed, we had $70 in donations. I haven't gotten it yet because it was all done through the gray button with the $sign on it instead of Streamlabs. The Streamlabs link up here at the top of the screen. So anyone who does donate, that's what it's going to pay for, is to replace my chair so I can comfortably entertain y'all on Saturdays. It ain't going to go to anything else. It ain't going to go to games. It ain't going to go to paying utility bills, nothing. It's to get me a decent chair to sit in. Because this one, I can tell you right now, by the time 9 o'clock comes around tonight, I'm going to be hurting. I'm hurting already, but I'm really going to be hurting in another 2.5 hours. So if you can donate, great. If you can't, fine. But I would ask, if at all possible, if the gray button with a $sign on it's the only way you can do it, fine. But I would prefer, it'd be better for everybody if you use the streamlabs.com/7th level reviews. Why? Because YouTube takes 30% of everything you donate, and 2, will not pay me until the balance in the account is at least $100, and then it waits till the next monthly billing cycle and then pays it out. This I get instantly. It goes straight to my account. So if you can help out, awesome. If you can't, awesome. There's where we stand. Now, this is not a McMansion, but it's the closest to a McMansion that I've ever lived in. This house is 2,300 square feet. And I've got this room, which is the main game room. And as you can see, it's split up between modern gaming and retro at the window there. Down that way is the hallway. I've got a half bath. To the right is my laundry room, which goes into the garage. The garage has a full wet bar and has some kind of special insulation in it too, because even at the peak heat of the day, There's no air conditioning vents in there, but you can go in the garage and it's not super hot in there. It's a little toasty, but not much. So we're going to get a portable air conditioner similar to what Brian loaned us, and to keep that room cool. And 8th is going to use it as an additional like party game room. If you're wondering where my arcade cabinet is, that's where it is. It's in the garage because, like I've said before, and this is no disrespect to Captain Retro, the thing's never quite worked the way I wanted it to. And so 8th and his best friend, they're going to take it on as a project and completely redo it, put in a new PC in it, put in new control board, put in new controls, new paint job, new everything, to give it a vibe closer to what you would expect to see in a bar. And then, as soon as I can afford it, which I can't right now, as soon as I can afford it, I'm going to shell out for one of those custom-built 50-inch multicade, 50-inch screen multicades, and it's going to go right there against that wall. And I'm going to get the one that's got the light guns and all that stuff on it. And that's where mine's going to go. And then 2 more of those shelves that you see back there, that's 3 sets of shelves. 2 more of those are going to go on that same wall for expansion. Because that was one of the reasons we wanted a bigger house than what we could have gotten. Something quite a bit cheaper by just getting a house the same size we were living in. But magic powers. We wanted more room because the collection was starting to get too big for the house we were living in. And the whole reason that we were moving, as you guys, some of you probably remember, is that the homeowner that I'd been renting the house from for 7 years sold it out from under me and told me, you've got till May 31st to get out. And I didn't want that to happen again. I didn't want to rent a house and then a year later something happened with the market. Oh, we're selling. And then I have to shell out for a rental truck and all that all over again. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to have that to keep happening over. And that's why I decided to finally, after 7 years, bite the bullet and buy another house. And it's a 30-year mortgage. I'm about to turn 50. I'm not going to live to pay this off. But 8th will, because it's all going to go to him. And what I've instructed him to do is that upon my death, he is to take my 401k and he is to take my life insurance, have me cremated and scattered in a Sanka can over a river somewhere. No grave, no tombstone, no nothing. Save that money, take the insurance, take the 401k, pay off the mortgage. And then he's got a paid house. He's got somewhere to live. And if a tornado destroys it, then he'll have the insurance to just turn around and go buy another house somewhere else. But here's the interesting thing. The tornado that skimmed this neighborhood was the first time a tornado had hit in this little 7 square mile block that I'm in the 75 years that they've been documenting twisters. So, that I find that very interesting. 8th said I jinked. 8th says I jinked the whole neighborhood. I jinxed it by moving here. They hadn't had a tornado in 75 years. I buy the house 2 days before I move in. Twister comes through. It was all me. It was all my fault. I jinxed it. But that's where we're at. I've got all the action figures up. Haven't put up any of the posters because I ran out of tacks. And I've got the one big poster, the Turk 182. It's going to go on the wall next to the front door. So it's the first thing you see when you walk in is Turk 182. 8th's upstairs looks awesome. He has all new shelves, new entertainment center that we bought several months ago when we first were deciding we were going to do this. And so he's got multiple sets of shelves. You walk in there, it's a totally separate game room with wall-to-wall shelves and a balcony that looks down over this game room. And then he's got one room that's just set up as the computer room, another room set up as his bedroom, and the third room is currently storage. But we've been talking about actually letting his best friend move in because kid's in a bit of a bad situation, needs a better place to be. And so I told 8th, if you want to help him out, he can come here. We got an extra room. You ain't doing nothing with it. As long as he, holds his keep, I ain't got a problem with him being here. So, that's where we stand. I may be soon having a new adopted son. We'll see. In the meantime, that's pretty much everything that's happened with me. It has been a nightmare. Every time I can't see the sun out that window and the wind starts blowing the tree real hard, I get nervous. And I've set up a thing to set off a really loud alarm if there's any kind of severe storm warning in the area. That way, if it seems like something is going to be headed my way and I'm asleep, it'll wake me up. Because I want to know. If it's coming anywhere near this house, I'm throwing 8th in the Challenger and we're hauling ass down the freeway. And we'll find somewhere a good safe distance from where those twisters are going to be. And we'll wait it out and then drive back up and see if the house is still here. That's how it's going to be from here on out. I ain't playing no games because this house has no basement. Most Texas houses don't. The reason being is because of the water table. So if you have a house in Texas, depending on where in Texas, that has a basement in it, you're in a flood threat. Ain't that right, Melvor? So no basement in this house. And you know how people will tell you to go to a central room? There's the only room in this house that has no windows is either my little half bath before going into the main bedroom, which I'm currently using for storage because, again, I sleep in the recliner. My back can't handle beds anymore. Or the laundry room. Either way, that's a whole lot of house that would be coming down on our heads, assuming that the tornado didn't just rip it all away and it go flying off into the distance. So who's to say whether we'd survive it or not if one actually came over the house? This one was just a Category 2. This was a relatively small tornado. So my plan is find out about it before anything actually touches the ground, hop in the car, and go. Go somewhere else. And then later, come back and see if the house is still here. So, that is everything that's happened since the last time you saw me. I am out of topics to discuss, so I can start answering questions here. Let me see. Noxious Gaming, long time no see, 7th. How are you? Well, now you know. Now you know. Oh, because of all the no electricity, I lost about 10 pounds of water weight during that time, too. I had the shits that whole week. God spared your house and belongings because you have been in your best behavior. You and your son are always well behaved. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Nick. We're very well behaved Christian young men over here. I'm glad you're okay, but so much for that area having a low probability. Yeah, exactly. First time in 75 years. What are the odds? If that ain't a direct message from God telling me not to get too wrapped up in the supposed permanence of things here on earth, I don't know what is. I've been here since 7th versus the Baron days. I'm nothing but patient. Understood. I don't understand the McMansion hate. I'd be more than happy. I'm not saying that I hate McMansions. I'm just saying there's been... there had been people when I was living in the previous house down towards Austin that because I had that big arch separating one part of the game room from another and I had game boxes lined up across that arch, they assumed that I lived in a McMansion because of that design. But I didn't. I was living in a 1,425 square foot house. Now I'm living in a 2,300 square foot house. And, I would say that McMansions have to be, to qualify as a McMansion, you have to be at least 3,000 square feet. This one's 2,300. I'm 700 square foot short. But it is a nice big house. Biggest house I've ever lived in my entire life. And look at that window. Look at that window behind me. You see that shit? That window is 7 feet by 7 feet. One uninterrupted pane of glass. And it's 1/4 inch thick tempered glass. I was told that the person who lived here before me had all new windows put in this house a couple of years ago. The screens in front of the side windows have a quick release latch where you can just throw it up real quick, presumably to dive out of it. The gentleman that lived in this house before me was ex-military, and he was a member of the Soldiers United Motorcycle Club. He was a biker. And that's why there's a bar in the garage. They'd go biking, and then they'd come back, throw up the garage door, and they'd sit at the bar and drink and watch football. But this man was highly convinced that something someday was potentially going to happen to him in this house. Because, that glass isn't bulletproof, but it's this thick tempered glass, one long uninterrupted piece. There's multiple locks on everything. There's electronic locks. There's 2 different alarm systems in this house. There's motion detectors inside and outside the house, in the front and the backyard, and there's cameras in the backyard, in the front yard, and the doorbell. This guy was paranoid about something potentially happening, perhaps a drive-by of rival bikers or something. I don't know. But he did a lot to try to turn this house into a fortress. It's crazy. And yes, that window is there is no sidewalk in this neighborhood, but it is facing the street where people could just be walking down the street and see directly into the house. So come October, when the car is paid off and I've got more fun money to play with, we're going to be getting new blinds for these windows. We're going to be custom ordering them because of, you can't really go to Walmart and buy a 7 foot long, 7 foot wide set of blinds for a window that big. It's the only house in this neighborhood that has a front bay window that big. Don't know what he was thinking, other than he really wanted to be able to see if anybody was driving by the front of the house and might want to try to put a bullet through his 1/4 inch thick tempered glass. Yeah. So, got a nice backyard. Nice. It's a quiet neighborhood. Nothing ever happens here. Very quiet neighborhood. Only complaint I would have, this side of the house, it's a rental. It's not owned. And the week we moved in, a gentleman rented it. He's some kind of an air conditioning technician, based on the fact that he has an air conditioning repair truck parked in front of the house. He's got 2 sons, and both of them smoke pot. And they sit out on the back porch and smoke it. And so if you go out in the backyard, you're accosted with the smell of their pot. That's the only complaint I've got. Otherwise, they don't bother me. I don't bother them. They're friendly enough. They just smoke a lot of weed. Now, the lady that lives over here, she runs her own business. Her business took a lot of damage. House got, as I said, some damage. And her and her husband have had their employees and various other contractors and whatnot coming in and out of the neighborhood to fix the stuff that happened there, and then temporarily running their business out of the house because they're still repairing what happened at their actual location. They're very nice people. Neighborhood has a community swimming pool, nice sized pool. I haven't gotten my key cards for it from the HOA yet. Don't know if I'll ever use it or not. I'm not as big on swimming as I used to be. We will see. If you see me going like this a lot, it's because I'm already starting to hurt in my left hip. This chair sucks. I've got starting to hurt my lower back already. Don't worry, I won't cancel it. I'll just endure the pain. I'm not going to cut the stream short. Let's see here. Nice place you got. I'm glad the tornado didn't destroy it. I'm glad too. Oh, that is one thing. Another thing that I'm going to have to get done. All of the toilets in this house are child-sized toilets. I'm not kidding. They're very low to the ground, and maybe the bowl is this big. They remind me of the toilets you might see if you walked into the restroom at an elementary school. I don't know why that is. I'm told that the original owners of this house 17 years ago had a special needs child. They were autistic. And so a lot of things were custom built in the house to accommodate that child. And I think part of that was making all the toilets tiny in this house. And so another thing that I'm going to do once I have money is I'm replacing all the toilets in this house. Because I barely fit on those things. Eighth isn't happy about them either. So, the house wasn't perfect. But the first house we were looking at, the one that I told you about where the dogs had torn up the backyard and everything, the one we backed out on, that tornado, when it formed right over that neighborhood. I haven't been up there to see what that house looks like now. But, we were convinced to not buy that one and buy this one instead. That neighborhood up there took a lot of damage. This one took a little damage, and this house, none. Just saying. What are the odds? What are the odds? Let's see here. I love the Midwest. No storms or stupid laws, just teenage gangbangers and funny talking white people. Okay. Alrighty then, QB. I'm watching this at work. I used to get bad storm anxiety when I was living in a mobile trailer with my wife and kids because I didn't want to be in a metal coffin if a tornado came through, but I'm more relaxed now. You hear all these horror stories about Texas, but you're seeing more of it happen in the Northeast and in the South, like Tennessee and Alabama and Georgia, than you are here now, which is where I grew up. And when I was living in Tennessee, you never heard anything about tornadoes. We had maybe one. We had like one that, briefly touched down in the neighborhood, knocked part of my tree over, and then hopped up and went down in the woods and did more damage. One from age 1 to age 22 when I moved away. Now you see them in Tennessee all the time. It's crazy. Hey, 7th, I lived through an F3 a week ago. So did you get one as well? And if so, how was it? Ours was an F2, and it just skimmed the neighborhood. The neighborhood got more damage from straight line winds than the actual tornado itself. I got zero damage except that it blew my backyard shed over. So where you been? It's been a while. I've been moving. And plus, this new role at my job that I've been at for about a year now, it takes up a lot more of my time than the previous one did. In fact, as we speak, I'm on call. So if this other cell phone over here starts to ring, you'll know why. And I'll have to end the stream because I'll have to go to work. We lost power and big branches east of us is gone. Wow. Well, I'm glad all you lost was power and a few tree branches. A lot of people weren't that lucky as we were. Your son has tipped $5. Appreciate it. Thank you. $5 from your son. Thank you. Oh. 7th, you get a dollar bill. Oh, it's not showing the dollar bill. Why is it not showing the dollar bill? There we go. You get a dollar bill. 7th, ever since the incident, did you start having nightmares about tornadoes? No. No, that hasn't happened. There's a lot more people moving in Ohio. It's not bad, but for a young person, you want to leave. I couldn't do Ohio. It's too far north. Too far north. I'm not a fan of cold weather. Cold weather messes with me. The older I get, the more it hurts. There's a lot. Let's see. Thoughts on Pat retiring from Wheel of Fortune. Dude, I haven't watched Wheel of Fortune in over 30 years. I couldn't give less of a crap. Don't care. Do not care at all. Nope. Here is a good quote I made up. Disasters are like tornadoes. They're always twisted. You are a poet laureate of our time, sir. 7th, you said on Twitter a while back you had another altercation at a movie theater. What happened? Me and 8th went to the Alamo. Or no. This was the first... Before we realized that we were going to be without air conditioning, that Memorial Day weekend, we decided to go see a movie. So we went to see Furiosa. And, no, it was at the Alamo. Never mind. It was at the Alamo. And it was the weekend before we moved here. And we went to see, can't remember what we went to see. We went to see something. It wasn't Furiosa. We saw Furiosa here. We went to see a movie. And, the Alamo has the steep stadium seating. And you've got little tables in front of you for eating food, right? When we come in, the lights are already dim, so we can't really see anything. We're just following the floor lights to our seats. We sit down, and the movie starts, and the people sitting up behind us, whom we can't see, start talking. They're having a conversation. And one of them keeps turning on their cell phone and flashing their flashlight around everywhere, including down over my shoulder, so it's getting in the corner of my eye, blinding me. I don't say anything. I'm kind of a whatever. I'm just going to watch the movie and ignore it kind of guy. 8th is not that type of person. So 8th calls, after about 30 minutes of this going on, 8th calls the waiter over using the little button on the table. Waiter comes over. 8th hands them a note. The people sitting above us are talking loudly and flashing their phone lights. And so the waiter just gives a thumbs up. Roadie walks away. Not long after, somebody comes to the people above us, tells them that someone has complained because they were talking and flashing a light, and this is a warning. Because at Alamo, if you keep doing that, they will eject you from the movie. So for the rest of the movie, no cell phone came out, no talking. We stayed in the dark to watch the credits after the movie, which is what we tend to do. Everyone else left. We stayed to watch the credits. We get up and to leave. We come walking out, and there is an African American couple standing at the counter demanding free tickets because they were racially stereotyped, that they didn't say nothing and their cell phone never left their pocket. They didn't know it was us because it was in a dark room, so they couldn't see us and we couldn't see them. Hence, I couldn't see what color these people were. All I know is that they were talking very loud and flashing their camera light everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Up towards the screen, up along the wall, down in our face. And we just walked right on out and let the manager deal with it. Weren't talking at all. Phone never left their pocket. Racially stereotyped. Now that's not, I know full well that racial stereotyping does go on. That's not what this was. Like I said, we couldn't see who was sitting behind us. Never saw them. Not until we walked out into the lobby and they were standing there demanding free tickets. Is what it is. Kind of upset me that someone would, and they weren't just accusing us of this. They were accusing Alamo Drafthouse too, because what they were implying is that Alamo had come and picked out the wrong people, that we had actually complained about somebody else and Alamo had gone to the wrong folks. But it was the people directly behind us, and the people directly behind us are the ones that Alamo went and complained to. So, is what it is. Look, at Alamo Drafthouse, they throw up big warnings every time. Turn off your phones, put them away, no talking during the film. Offenders will be asked to leave. They show this at the beginning of every movie they show. Had nothing to do with racial background, religious background, nothing. If you break the rules, people that go to Alamo are accustomed to everyone respecting each other and abiding those rules. If you don't abide by those rules, you will get complained on, no matter who you are or where you're from. Me included. If I talk during an Alamo movie, I'm going to get complained on. White, fat me. It has nothing to do with color. Why weird altercations like this tend to happen to me and 8th at movie theaters, I don't know. So now, at this point, I've been accused of stealing a dude's wallet because it fell out of his pocket onto the floor, and racial profiling because my son complained about someone who wouldn't shut up and wouldn't put their phone away. More and more, I'm finding that I would rather just wait an extra month and buy the movie on Amazon than sit in a movie theater. Not to mention when we went to, there was another one we went to see not long ago, Ghostbusters, and mother comes walking in with 2 boys about 8 years old, sets the 2 boys directly next to 8th when there's empty seats everywhere because it was Ghostbusters, nobody went to see it, sits them right next to 8th. She sits above them, behind us, and then leans over their seats and hands them an iPad. And they sat and watched TikTok videos through the whole movie. Their eyes never left that pad. They didn't watch a single second of that movie. Parents, don't do this. If your kids don't have any more of an attention span than that, don't take them to the theater. Wait until it hits video on demand and buy it and watch it in the comfort of your own home. Don't ruin it for everybody else. I'm a parent. When I had a young kid, when Eighth was, very, very young, we tried taking him to a movie once at age 2. He heard that loud noise. He started crying. 15 minutes into it, we got up, we left. And we didn't go back to the movies for over a year. He was 3.5. When we finally went back to the movies, we took him to see Superman Returns at the theater. And we have always stressed, from a young age, there are other people in here. I know you're excited to watch the movie, but you will sit, and you will sit still, and you will be quiet. If you have to ask me something, whisper it in my ear. And Eighth has been perfectly well behaved in the theater every time I've taken him since. I'm not asking parents out there to do anything that I didn't do. If I'd taken Eighth to a movie and he was being unruly or playing with a phone when he was supposed to be watching the movie and shining his phone light all over the theater, I would have gotten up and left and taken him with me rather than bother anybody else. I'm asking for the same courtesy because this kind of disregard for your children's behavior is one of the reasons that people are staying home instead of going to the theater. And I don't want movie theaters to die. It's an experience that I've loved since I was a little boy. I don't want it to die. So parents, start being parents when it comes to taking your kids to the theater. If they're not going to be interested in the movie, don't take them. Don't bring them to something only you want to see and slap an iPad in front of them. You do that, you're an awful parent in my book. Awful. Anyway. The ability to be careful to not cause inconvenience is like superpowers nowadays. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Once again, your son. Thanks for the $5. We are now, $325 away. $325 away from my chair and being able to sit comfortably while doing the show. Because right now, I'm feeling it. Do you think movie theaters should put more old movies and classics on to save theaters? It's interesting that you say that. There is a movie theater a few miles down the road from me in Belton that's called the Beltonian. And all they show are old movies. They show stuff like Wizard of Oz and The Goonies, Superman, Indiana Jones, all old stuff from the 30s all the way up to the 80s. They show nothing new. And then on Saturdays, you can bring your kid there for breakfast, and they show 80s cartoons in the theater. G.I. Joe, Thundercats, stuff like that. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. We haven't had a chance to go to that one yet. When we went to see Furiosa, we went to a theater called the Belton Grand, and it's kind of like Alamo, but not quite as nice. They have a full-service restaurant like Alamo, but instead of having waiters that take your order, you order everything at a counter, and they give you a tray that has this big plastic thing sticking out of the bottom of it, and you walk in, and that big plastic thing sits in the cup holder of your chair, and it's just sitting across you like your own little private table. So it's not quite as nice as having, a full wait staff, but it's still pretty cool. They also have a full ice cream fountain, ice cream soda fountain type thing, 50 style soda fountain in the lobby. So you can get milkshakes and root beer floats and all that kind of stuff, like what you'd see in a soda fountain from the 50s. It's really neat. Kind of like going to Ghirardelli's over in the downtown Disney shopping area at Disney World, only not ice cream's not quite as good. Whoa! Oh my. Richard. $100. Hey, 7th, it's me, the guy you thought was attacking you on Twitter. Oh, okay. You're the one that was getting on to me for saying that, I watched the first episode of The Acolyte and I wasn't going to watch the rest of it. And accused me of hate watching the show. Well, for one thing, sir, thank you for the $100. It's greatly appreciated. Let me give you a dollar bill here. Hold on a second. Dollar bill for Richard. Thank you, sir. You're awesome. It's going to go right to the chair. Trust me. I'm not in the habit of hate watching. That's not me. I will seek out bad media. You're looking at the guy who went to see Freddy Got Fingered in the theater for the whole week that was on the theater. I was there. I was one of the few. I've seen The Room multiple times. Yeah, I've seen Plan 9 from Outer Space multiple times because I like to do the whole mystery science theater thing. I'll sit down with my friends and we'll just make fun of it while we're watching it and make our own entertainment out of it. That being said, I'm also someone that will tend to give anything a chance. I watched Ahsoka. I watched all of Ahsoka. I only made it through this episode and half of the second episode, and I turned it off. Because it's just not good. It's not a good show. They don't even understand, whoever wrote it doesn't even understand Jedi lore. It's this big mystery about the twin sister and all that, right? So they all think it's the good sister that killed this person, right? Meanwhile, it's all Jedis who could pluck it right out of her head. But it's this big mystery that they eventually figure out halfway through the second episode. Come on. They don't even know how Jedis work. They make a big deal about Carrie-Anne Moss being in it. And Carrie-Anne Moss is going to be a Jedi. And they kill her 6 minutes into the first episode. That's bait and switch. So no, it's not a good show, and I'm not going to continue watching it. It has nothing to do with hate watching. If I was hate watching, you know what I'd be doing? You know what I'd be doing if I was hate watching, Richard? I'd be watching every episode, and I'd be doing a video about every episode I watched. Like these fandom menace guys. I don't do that. I might do a review after seeing a movie that I thought was terrible, or a video game that I think is terrible. But I'm not going to sit and try to get rage clicks by reviewing every episode of a series that I knew was crap the first episode in. I don't do that. But I appreciate the donation. It's greatly going to help me out with this chair. So now we're at 275 left to go. 275 more and I can buy my chair. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, people under 20 want to watch TikTok rather than sit. Yeah, social media was the worst thing in the world for kids, man, because it's caused all of them to have the attention span of a gnat. It's terrible. That's why I didn't allow 8th to have his own cell phone until he became a teenager. His little hands never touched the cell phone until, he got to be, I think it was 13 or 14. Yes, I am looking forward to Deadpool. That's one of the few there's only 2 movies that have been announced for the summer that I care about, and that's Deadpool and Twisters, ironically enough. Are you looking, let's see, did you watch the Fallout show? Now, you know what? The Fallout show, I didn't mind. I enjoyed the Fallout show. They took a few liberties here and there, but I liked it. They didn't do anything that was going to necessarily break the lore of the games. Whereas the Acolyte is supposed to be canon, and it breaks the lore of the Jedi. The first episode in, it breaks the lore of the Jedi. Meanwhile, Yoda is 900 years old. Where's Yoda? Where's Yoda? Where's he at? Not even mentioned. Master Yoda is off on this planet doing something. Not even mentioned so far. That doesn't mean that he won't eventually show up, but come on. Seventh, social media damaged young adults. A lot of them get bored of the 1979 classic Alien. Suspense isn't a thing to these people anymore. Do you agree? Yes. Try getting like a 10-year-old kid today to sit down and watch all of Jaws. Ain't gonna happen. Unless their parents are a movie file like me that's raised them to respect cinema. Ain't gonna happen. Nope. I don't care about Minecraft. I don't like it as a game. I'm not going to like it as a show neither. Do you think Jim Carrey would have been a good Deadpool? No, he would have gone too far with it. Ryan Reynolds walks a fine line. Jim Carrey would have leapt over that line with great abandon. Jim Carrey as Deadpool would have basically been the Mask wearing a Deadpool mask. That's what it would have ended up as. Not good. There's a new movie called Horizon that looks interesting. Yeah, it's a 2-parter. They're saying it's incredibly boring. Won't be going to the theater to see it. I'll wait till it hits streaming so I can watch both parts back to back and not have to wait. Because I loved Dances with Wolves. Open Range was terrible. That was like a dull, boring Western. And I have a feeling that this new one is going to be a lot more like Open Range than Dances with Wolves. It's just a gut feeling, This is another thing I'm going to have to quit. Because I'm on a tighter budget now. Even when the car gets paid off, I'm not going to be able to afford spending $70, $80 a month on this stuff. So I'm going to have to quit this too. And no, I'm not thrilled with the Borderlands movie. I think it was incredibly miscast. I don't understand the casting decisions that were made. And that'll be another one that I'm not going to go see at the theater. Have you played anything good on the PSVR? I haven't played anything on the PSVR 2. That's 8th's. It stays up in 8th's game room. He's played it. I don't. He likes it. I haven't had a chance to try it out. He has the PSVR 2, and he has some other headset. It's the one that Valve makes, the Valve Index or whatever. He has that one. Oh no, I am at restaurant, but good thing you and your house are safe. Thank you. Thanks YouTube for not notifying me that you started streaming. Sorry about that, man. Some people hate on Kevin Costner. I like Kevin Costner too. Let me clue you in. I really like Waterworld. It's Mad Max on the high seas. What's not to love? I love The Postman. It's Mad Max on horseback. What's not to love? I like both of those movies. I love the soundtrack to The Postman. It's got a great soundtrack. In fact, The Postman is one of those movies where if I can't find anything good that I want to watch, I just turn on The Postman. Now, you guys think that maybe you guys think that I'm kidding about this thing with the chair. I'm not. I canceled all of the pre-orders for games that I had this week, because I'm not going to have the money to buy them. The last game that I bought the remake of System Shock the week before I moved here and had it shipped here. And I only started playing it today. It's fantastic. It's exactly what I wanted from a remake of System Shock. It's fantastic. And for $40, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. If you've never played the original System Shock, go out and get the remake. It's worth it. Nobody in the community is talking about it. It just hit consoles. I mean, it hit PC back last year, but it just hit consoles like a week ago. Go play it. It's good. It's worth the buy. I started playing it this morning. I played it for like 6 hours straight. I was just completely enamored with it. But yeah, I had several things pre-ordered. I canceled them all because I'm just not going to have the money. My mortgage is $2,740 a month. The house that I was renting was costing me $1,740 a month. So my rent has gone up by $1,000 a month overnight. And I mean, look what I have to show for it, sure. But I now find myself with $1,000 less per month to play with. Now, there were some things about the house that have helped out a little bit. The house has solar panels on the roof. And so that's pretty much cutting my electric bill almost in half. Almost in half. No more gas stove, no more gas water heater. There is no gas lines in this house. It's all electric. So no more $70 a month gas bill. So that saved me a little bit. But the rent is $1,000 more. So as of right now, after all the bills come out, I'm only clearing like $400 or $500 a month. When I get my car paid off in October, that'll go back up to about $1,000 a month. Because my car payment is expensive. And then I'll be okay. Then, at that point, 8th is going to start contributing to the mortgage. He's going to pay $500 a month on it. And when his best friend moves in, he's going to pay $500 a month on it. And that'll be another $1,000 off of that. And then... next year, when I get my raise and bonus, the bonus is going to be paying for some of the changes that I want done to the house, and then the rest of it's going to go towards bills. Eventually, in the next 2 years, in 2 years' time, I should be at the point where I am clearing almost $3,000 a month, which will be good. Hi-Fi has tipped $10. I'd donate more. However, the enthusiast PC is now about $7,000. Cheers for the new place. Hope the whole 10 goes to the... Yes, absolutely. The entire 10 is going to go to the chair. So that's... So now we're $265 to go. $265 to go. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Oh, and I just realized. I just realized. Hold on just a second. 2 hours remaining, folks. 2 hours left to go. Want to see something else neat about that fan? What's this? You can control the light with it too. And you can change it from bright light to super bright light. And you can also change it to an orange shade if I can get it to do it. I haven't figured out exactly. There we go. Now I've got an orange light on up there. So you can change the color of it, and it's all done with this little remote. And the remote has its own little jack on the wall, so I can pop the remote in there and it charges the remote. It's a nifty little system. But yeah, I can turn the fan on with it too. So I can I've got super fast, kind of fast, and slow. And so I just turned on the super fast. And you can't see it, but let me see if I can. There it is. Look at it go. Whoop. So things are a little bit arranged a little bit different than they were. You can see the pinball machine is directly behind me now, where it used to be on a back wall. The reason that we did that is so that I can quickly, if I want to add pinball tables to it, I can sit here at the computer, download the table, put it on a flash drive, turn right around, have my keyboard right there, set it up on the table instead of having to walk around to do it. Also over here, I have the Polymega set up. I have not finished installing all the games for it yet. Mostly what's on there is about 50 NES games, about 20 SNES, about 50 Genesis, about 60 PS1 games, and 20 or 30 Saturn games, several of which are Japanese imports that I imported from Japan before I knew that I was going to have to spend all this extra money on the house. That won't be happening again anytime soon either. Won't be buying any more Japanese Saturn games for a long time, several months at least. New houses can't have gas lines. Did you have any thought on the all-electric? Well, I never have liked gas. I don't like gas stoves. I don't like the way they make your food taste. For some reason, maybe it's just in my head, but cooking ground beef, for example, the ground beef tastes different than if you cook it over an electric stove to me. So I don't like them. So when I found out that this house didn't have a gas line, I was very happy about that. Hello, Chris G. BioShock is a successor. Yes, I know. But BioShock, to me, is a lot simplified compared to System Shock. I like System Shock better. I think it's a better game. What do you think of the People's Dumb GoFundMe pages? I think in certain situations, GoFundMes are warranted. Like if someone finds out they have a a debilitating disease and they can't afford the medical, or if a disaster happens, like a tornado destroys their house, that kind of thing, then I think GoFundMe can be a very good thing. I don't think that a lot of people use GoFundMe the way it should be done, and for the right reasons. What'd you think about Sony's show? Didn't think much of it at all. Wasn't impressed. And I was even less impressed by the Summer Game Show. That being said, what I was excited about was Astrobot, because I loved the Astrobot game that came with the PS5, and the fact that they're making a full-fledged game that's got over 80 levels. That means that, I'm going to have my own little Mario Galaxy, Mario Odyssey equivalent on PS5, and I'm excited for that. I still like to sit down and play a good 3D platformer every now and again. And say what you want about Astro's Playroom that came with the PS5, that game was fun. And it had a good sense of humor to it, too. Had a great sense of humor to it. Are you going to get blinds for that big-ass window? Yes. They're going to cost me $175. I found a site where you can custom order blinds for any size window. And I'm going to get blackout blinds. So instead of the plastic ones that just turn like this, these actually scroll down. And they're opaque, so you can still see out the window, but they block all this blinding light that's coming in through, so as to eliminate the glare on my screen. And I'm going to get those same kind of blinds for every window in this house. It's just that one is going to cost $175 because of how big that window is. But I'll deal with that later. Right now, I'm primarily concerned by how uncomfortable I am sitting in this stupid kitchen dinette wooden chair that has absolutely no spine or ass support. I feel like my balls are being pushed up next to where my tonsils used to be. Seventh, you missed my last two questions. Seventh, I've gotten mixed advice, but for my resume, should I put that I graduated from my university at the beginning of the resume or the ending of it? I don't want my employers to think badly. Your job history comes first. Your education comes at the bottom of the resume. That's standard. That's just standard. That's the way it's been done for 30 years. You have your job history, which is what they'll care most about. Your education at the bottom. And that includes any certifications you've gotten, any training classes you've taken. But that is secondary. Believe it or not, most employers care more about your on-the-job experience and training than they do about what classes you sat in. Just trust me on that. Seventh, do you think this will be the last console generation for Xbox? Rumor has it they'll just license the Xbox brand out. It seems that way. It seems like they're going to go the route of 3DO. Remember when you could get a 3DO from Panasonic, Gold Star, Sanyo, etc.? That seems to be the direction they're going with this new one. And here's his other question. Seventh, do you think it's very telling of the video game era that people nowadays are playing more older games instead of newer ones? Yes. But that's only for certain demographics. You don't see 10 or 11-year-old kids getting all excited about Mega Man and Castlevania and Super Mario Brothers. This is mostly people in like their late 20s, early 30s, going up into my age. Which is probably going to prolong how long it's going to be before the prices on like NES carts and stuff like that start to go down, because now they're getting back into them again when it was starting to die off. Makes it very hard to predict what's going to happen. Let's see here. Have you played Stellar Blade? No. Eighth bought it, and Eighth has played it. I have not touched it yet. Do you think gaming is dead or dying? I think that we are circling the drain towards another U.S. games market crash. And Summer Game Fest was all the proof of that I need. 7th, I watched a movie called Hell or High Water recently. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a neo-Western heist. I don't like heist movies, Smith. I'm not a fan of heist movies. Like Ocean's 11 and all that. I can't stand them. Can't stand them. Thoughts on Pee Wee Herman dying. Nobody here lives forever. It's going to happen sooner or later. Congrats on the new house. Thank you. Appreciate you. Hey, 7th, is it true that Sony is looking to get into PC gaming? Well, they're already porting games to PC. I mean, they used to make the Sony Vaio PC back in the 90s, you know. I feel like Sly Cooper is overdue for a remake or some kind of a comeback. I would tend to agree, but Sucker Punch has expressed no interest in going back to it. The last game was made by, I think, Sumo Digital or somebody like that, and it wasn't very good. A Thief in Time or whatever it was called was not very good. So I wouldn't hold my breath. I'm not saying never say never, but if there is another one made, it's highly unlikely it'll be Sucker Punch making it. If you enjoy Earthbound, you should check out a game sometime when you can called Athenian Rhapsody. It's pretty funny. I wasn't a big fan of Earthbound. Wasn't an incredible fan of Undertale either. Just wasn't really my thing. What do you think will be the new gimmick for the new Nintendo console? I don't think you're going to have like a new gimmick. I could be wrong, but I feel like Switch has been such a surprise success for them that they're just going to make a more powerful Switch with maybe a couple of extra bells and whistles on it. Because what they did was a bait and switch. When the Switch was announced, they swore up and down that it was not their new handheld, that it was their new console, and that they would not be retiring their handheld market, that there would be a successor to the 3DS. Guess what? The Switch was the successor to the 3DS, and those of you who never cared about handheld gaming were just lied to and convinced that the Switch was a console that you could play on the go rather than a handheld you could plug into your TV. Which do you like better, Disney World or Universal Studios? Well, you know, I've never been to Islands of Adventure. The only time I ever went to Universal was it had only been open for like a year. So all they had was Jaws, Earthquake, Kong, Back to the Future, and the E.T. ride. And that was pretty much it. This was in 1992. Never been to Islands of Adventure, and of course Epic Universe hasn't opened yet. But just looking at the prices of their hotels and the prices of their tickets makes me like them better by default than what Disney's been doing lately, which is nickel and diming you for every dime you could get. Used to, parking at the hotels was free. Not anymore. Used to, FastPass was free. Not anymore. Now you have to pay for the stupid Genie app to be able to get FastPasses, and on top of that, you have to pay an additional fee for certain primo rides like Tron and stuff. So no, Disney will not be getting another dime of my money anytime soon. Not until they stop nickel and diming and catering their parks to the rich. When Disney stopped caring about making sure that the average American family could afford to go on a vacation there, that's when I stopped caring about Disney World. Yes, Summer Game Fest was trash, Chris. Hey, congrats on the new album, the new house. It looks nice. And I hope you remember me as the one that talked to you on Discord showing you that solar eclipse. Yes, I remember the picture. I remember Blaze. Seventh, which era do you like more, PS3 or PS4 in terms of fun memories? PS3. PS3, not only for the console, but that's because that was the heyday of the Trey Brotherhood era when YouTube was actually fun. They're going to bring the first Sly Cooper to the highest tier in PS Plus. Yay. Sony does a better job than Microsoft when it comes to putting their games on PC over time. We'll see. No Country for Old Men. I've seen that once. It was okay. Not my favorite movie. Thoughts on whether a video game crash is coming to Japan? It's not gonna hit Japan like it will the U.S. because Japan, they've already pretty much, for the most part, abandoned console gaming and gone straight to mobile anyway. Seventh, which did you prefer, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, or Harry Potter? Lord of the Rings. Hi, Chan Man. Hey, seventh, Dracula, Frankenstein, or the Wolfman? Which is better? I prefer Dracula. Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine is nice, but Logan is best performance he's had. True. But, of course, they're doing the whole multiverse thing, so I'm sure this is a different Logan. I know you didn't... No, I didn't say I didn't like the movie Heat. Open your ears. I said that No Country for Old Men was okay, but that it wasn't, a favorite of mine. I didn't say anything about Heat. I went game hunting today and was able to get 18 PS3 games for $100, and one of them's a complete copy of Splatterhouse. Nice. That's a pretty good haul for $100. And Splatterhouse on PS3 ain't cheap these days. They had a Waterworld live performance at Universal. They've had that for years. Years! It's been there a long time. The Days of El Presidor running into dead trees, good time. Well, that was after my part and all that. That was well after the Brotherhood was dead and gone. Any opinions or rumors of Xbox and PlayStation both getting into the native handheld market? I don't care. I never go anywhere except Retropalooza. And when I go to Retropalooza, I take my Retroid Pocket with me and just play retro games. I'm not going to carry around a handheld where I have to have my PlayStation turned on at home to be able to do anything. Screw that. If they make a handheld that will connect via Wi-Fi to PSN and I can play anything that's in my PSN library, that I might be interested in. But what they've done so far with the PlayStation Portal, you'll notice I don't have one. There's a reason for that. Seventh, has eighth read The Hobbit? As far as I know, best video game adaptation. I don't know. There's been too many of those. You could argue stuff for years. Is Logan the best Wolverine film? Well, considering there was only 3 Wolverine films and 2 of them were horse crap, it wins by default. X-Men Origins Wolverine sucked. Video game was great. And The Wolverine in Japan sucked too. Yes, Heat is not... It doesn't fit the traditional... the traditional heist movie. It's not like watching Ocean's 11 or all that, the Italian Job and stuff like that. It's a little bit different than that. It's more of a psychological police drama than it is a straight up heist movie. Just watch it. Watch it, B. Watch it, sir. Watch it. Do you sometimes wish it was 1990s gaming movie? No. Because a lot of the movies that came out in the 90s sucked too. I mean, some of them were good. Like the first Matrix, The Mummy, There were a handful of good movies during the 90s, but a lot of the stuff that was in the 90s was straight trash, like The Phantom, for example. The Phantom's one of those so bad it's good movies that I like to watch. Another one would be The Shadow. Now, don't get me wrong, I love The Shadow, but I accept the fact that it's a bad movie. But it's a bad movie that's a lot of fun to watch. Heck, I got the action figure right up here. Do you think they need more mafia movies like Goodfellas and Sopranos? Yes. Yes. Why do you like Lord of the Rings better? Better characterization, better plot, better setting, better everything. Who is your favorite subscriber? I don't have a favorite subscriber. If I did have a favorite subscriber, it'd be my buddy Brian because of how much he went above and beyond to get me moved in here and asked for nothing in return. Absolutely nothing. Worked his ass off. Drove my moving truck for me. Man was drenched in sweat by the time he left the house that night. And then was going to have to go, after the weekend was over, was going to have to go and work his ass off at his job. And I'm not going to tell you what he does for a living, but it's very hard, strenuous work. I have nothing but respect for that man. Even though we don't agree on movies from time to time, AB. Let's see here. Is AI overhyped? Seems like AI-related stocks have been sticking for over a year. From an investment point, yes. From its potential to elicit great change in society in either a very positive or very negative way, no, it's not overhyped. What do you think of the movie Ronin, 7th? I think it's a heist movie. I watched it once and have never saw it at the theater with a friend of mine who wanted to see it. And that's the one time I've ever watched it. I almost got a backwards compatible PS3, but only at $300. Well, my buddy Jeff, my guitar buddy, he gave me his 60 gig PS3, and it's now up in 8th's game room. 7th, who's more badass, Batman or Wolverine? Batman, because he doesn't have the regeneration factor. Are you happy hitting 15,000 subs twice? What are you talking about? I used to be almost 20,000, then I dropped to 14,000. Are you saying I'm back up to 15? How'd that happen? I haven't been making any videos. I haven't looked at my subscriber account in forever. Let me go see. What's my subscriber count? 7th level reviews. 14.8. I'm not at 15,000 subscribers. What are you talking about, Raymond? 14.8. 7th, The Sopranos or Breaking Bad. Which was better? I liked Breaking Bad better myself. Astrobot's the only game that really takes advantage of the controller too. You're not wrong. What'd you think of the Lego Horizon game reveal? I stopped caring about Lego games when 8th stopped caring about Lego games. I only ever played Lego games as something that he and I could play together when he was a little boy. Once he started playing Souls-likes and lost all interest in stuff like Little Big Planet and Lego games, I lost interest in them too. The last one that I played was Lego The Hobbit, and me and him played it together to get the platinum. And that's the last one I ever played. Did you know Wolverine was created to compete with Batman, but people think Wolverine is a boring character now? I don't think Wolverine's boring. It just depends on who's writing him at the time. Does toilet paper go over the top or under the bottom? Over the top. That way, you're not having to reach as far to pull. Thoughts on Microsoft closing 4 studios? Sony has closed studios too. The business in general is struggling right now. I think Closing Tango was BS. But the others I could understand. Seventh, do you remember Smiles Morales? That name does sound like a wrestler's name. No, I don't remember Smiles Morales. Speaking of sub counts, are you glad Mr. Beast is now number one? I don't watch Mr. Beast. Little Big Planet era was a mistake for Sony. No, letting it die was a mistake for Sony. Little Big Planet 2 did good business. Having a library that appeals to multiple age groups is never a mistake, so long as the game is quality, and Little Big Planet was quality. But then they passed it off to Sumo Digital because Media Molecule wanted to go and do Dreams, which nobody wanted. And now we have no Little Big Planet. I will never disparage Little Big Planet because Little Big Planet did a lot for 8th when he was a kid. 8th struggled after me and his mom got divorced. And he wasn't doing too good in school. And Little Big Planet, I went and bought it for him. And within 3 months, he was an honor roll student. Because it taught math, problem solving, cooperation, reading comprehension, following instructions. It was the perfect game to give a kid to help them get ahead in school. Whether it would do any good for kids now, I highly doubt it. But at that time, it really helped out 8th a lot. Are you looking forward to the Xbox show tomorrow? Not at all. Probably won't even watch it. I'll probably just watch somebody's recap of it. Xbox set up Hellblade 2 for failure. Yeah, nobody's talking about it already. Everyone was talking about it for 3 or 4 days, and then it just died on the vine. I called that one. Might win some awards, but no one gives a crap about it. Dreams did suck because it didn't have an anchor game. You know, it had one complete game, but it was like this little puzzle platformy thing following around like the ghost of a jazz musician or something. You know, it didn't have the appeal of a Little Big Planet as its anchor game. And that's the mistake they made with Dreams. It needed to have something like Little Big Planet that came installed on the disc for people that didn't care about creating games and just wanted to have a fun platforming adventure with their friends. That's where Media Molecule screwed up. You know, Dreams bombed big time because they lost sight of the fact that, sure, you could create a lot of stuff with Little Big Planet, but the main thing about it was that it was fun. It had a framework. It had a core anchor game. And Dreams didn't have that. Dreams was just a game design studio for dummies. And people out there in general aren't as creative as Media Molecule was hoping. Some people just want to play games. Some people don't want to put in work. They just want to play someone else's work. Xbox tried the same thing with their little, I can't even remember the name of it now, but on Xbox One, they had a game design studio thing, and it flopped too. Didn't work that much different from Dreams, really. Dreams was more robust. You could do more on a graphical standpoint, but both of them bombed for the same reason. Call of Duty won't save Xbox. Well, Call of Duty was making the majority of its money off of sales from PS4. That's the reality. And Microsoft giving it away on Game Pass, it might drum up temporary subscriber boost, but then once they're done with it and the next big thing comes out, those people will be gone. And all they'll have left are sales of the game on PC and PS4 and PS5. Just like now. Just like before they bought them. Because nobody was buying it on Xbox either. Shadow DS, you missed my question. Then don't ask so many questions. Gosh! Thoughts on Volition shutting down, company that made Saints Row. They deserved it. That new Saints Row was terrible. That's what they get for trying to cater to a modern audience. They spat in the faces of the people that got them where they were and reaped the just rewards of that. Roblox is kind of a different thing because, again, it has a set framework for its community. Yes, you can build lots of different experiences with it, but it has a very core framework around it. Dreams, you could literally make anything. And so there was no core design strategy, no, yes, this is a different thing, but it all has kind of the same feel, like with Little Big Planet stuff. Dreams was just a dumbed down game design engine. And so you had some people that were trying to make legit games with it, and then you had some people that were just trying to remake Mario and that kind of crap. So it was flooded with garbage and with, only a review system to go by to help you find the good stuff on Dreams. It was destined to fail. Will you play Lego Horizon? I don't care about Lego Horizon. I already said, I was never a big fan of Lego. The only reason I played them was so I had something I could play, me and Eighth could play together. Haven't bought a Lego game in years. I think the last one Eighth bought was Lego Jurassic World. Do you like the central struggle of Ghost of Tsushima abandoning the samurai code? I really liked Ghost of Tsushima, yeah. It's the best Ubisoft game that Ubisoft never made. It's Assassin's Creed done right. That's what Ghost of Tsushima is. If you're going to make an open world Assassin's Creed, a fully open world Assassin's Creed, Ghost of Tsushima is how you do it. Not Assassin's Creed Valhalla. What games are you currently working on right now? Right now, the only ones I'm playing are Sandland, and which I bought a couple months ago, and System Shock Remake. Oh. As I'm sorry. Oh. This chair sucks. Sorry, guys. Trying to stay comfortable, but this chair, it's like I have no cushion at all. Oh, man. Seems like entertainment and the music industry has been in decline for years. Well, yeah. The early 2000s was the last time that rock music was good. You had bands like Breaking Benjamin, and you had bands like I know you're all going to rail on me for this, but I like pop punk, so My Chemical Romance and stuff like that. Rock music nowadays, you can't even tell it's rock music. It's horrible. It's like the grunge invasion, but with no balls. It's terrible. Everybody wants to sound like Imagine Dragons. It's horse crap. Rock music is dead. If you want to listen to good rock music, you have to import bands from Sweden. How sad is that? Rock music, was invented in America. First came rhythm and blues, and then came rock and roll, and it was 100% American. And now if you want good rock music, you got to go to Sweden to get it. Sad. Sad. Aren't you going to be working in that chair several hours a day? No. I work from home, but I don't work on this computer. This computer is strictly for making videos and streaming. I have a company laptop that I work on. I sit in my recliner all day, where I have I have lower back lumbar support, and my feet are propped up. So my feet don't swell up from sitting like this because I have bad circulation. I guarantee you, by the time 9 o'clock rolls around, when this show is over, my feet are going to be swollen up, and I'm going to have to sit in that chair with my feet propped up for 2 hours before the swelling goes down. Started when I got diagnosed with type 2. And so, yeah, I mean, at least the chair that I had before, the one that I gave Eighth when his broke when we moved here, that all of your donations are going towards now to replace my computer chair, at least it had a prop up where I could put my feet up a little bit, to stop that, and it had lumbar support. This chair is nothing. This is just the chair that goes with my dining room table, where you're supposed to sit for 30 minutes and eat and then get up. These chairs were not meant for sitting in them for 3 hours at a time, and I'm feeling it right now. Oh, am I feeling it? Alaskan dude, I kind of agree with you. I haven't been all that motivated to game lately because even the indie games that are coming out, so much of it is just shit we've seen before. And I know that's ironic and maybe a little bit hypocritical of me to say, considering I'm telling everybody, go buy the remake of System Shock. But System Shock came out in 1994. A lot of y'all weren't even born when that game came out. So buying the remake would be the first time you've played it. And it's a classic and needs to be played. That's why I'm recommending that one. But like remaking The Last of Us Part 2, why? Why? Game came out in like 2020. It's 4 years? Really? Why? No, 3 years. 3 years. Because it came out last year. Seven, tell me your thoughts on God. What do you think of him? None of this would have been possible without him. And I firmly believe that the whole reason that I narrowly avoided buying a house that was right in the path of this thing instead of just grazing it, and it missing the house 2 days before I was scheduled to move in, was just, a message. Don't put too much emphasis on the things of this world, because they can be taken away just as easily as they can be given. They're here today, gone tomorrow. Focus more on what you're taking with you, which is just your soul. Are Rockstar games overrated? I think so. I've never been a big fan of Grand Theft Auto. Never been a big fan of them. I understand why other people like them, but try to remember that I am not a social gamer. Every now and again, someone might talk me into playing a looter shooter with them, like Borderlands or something like that. But for the most part, I gave up social gaming years and years and years ago, all the way back in 2004. And then ever since then, at most, I've dabbled. Like I've had people say, hey, I'm having trouble with this boss in Borderlands. Would you hop in and help me do it? And I jump in there with my, maxed out character with guns that would kill damn near anything in one hit. And I'd just have them wait down in the lobby, and I'd go up the elevator, kill the boss for them. They'd get a bunch of experience. And that's been the extent of my social gaming over the last, 20 years. I don't have it in me anymore. I want a good gaming experience. I don't want my gaming experience to be dictated upon the quality of the people I'm playing with. I just want the game to be good. I want to roam around in big open maps and hunt for hidden stuff. That's what I like to do. That's the gaming experience I prefer. Big epic story, big grand open world that I can run around and explore in and find hidden stuff. That's what I like. Don't you lie, Jay. Don't you lie like that, man. If I still had Fallout 76, I'd play it with you some more. Because, Jay is fun to play with. He's got a good sense of humor. And so you can take a game that's god awful, but if you're playing it with somebody like Jay, it becomes fun. Do you watch House of the Dragon? I watched the first season. I don't know that I liked it enough to finish it. Seventh, do you think that if we are created by God, that everything artists make is technically... No, because art is an expression of free will. Free will was given to us by God. And so it is and so, whereas he may bless us with the gifts of being artistic or the gifts of being good at building things, what we choose to use those gifts for is up to us, not him. So whereas God can inspire art and has inspired art and inspired literature and so many other things, I would not say that human art is created by God. Because I think in my opinion, I think part of the pleasure that God takes in observing humanity is observing the things that his creation creates. And he wouldn't get that enjoyment if he was creating those things through people. The difference being with the Gospels and with the Bible. A new Ratchet & Clank would be nice, because A Rift Apart was great, but it was awful short compared to other ones. I beat that game about as fast as I did Into the Nexus. Game was a little bit short on length. Yes, I liked the Fallout show. I think my character having poo-stained undies gave us yeah, that was funny. Seventh, I love binging your live streams while I play games. Your podcasts are so chill and make me happy with the wisdom you provide. Glad to be of service, sir. I wonder what the PS6 will be, PS5 exclusive will be. I suspect, based on timeline alone, that we ought to be hearing what Sucker Punch has been working on pretty soon here. I think, in all likelihood, we'll hear from Sucker Punch before we hear from Naughty Dog. Where do you believe the soul is located? Some think it's inside your brain. I think it embodies you from head to toe. I think it embodies you from head to toe. Top 5 years of gaming off the top of your head. Oof. My personal favorite, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. Those are my favorite 5 years. Because those are the years that I had NES, SNES, and Genesis. That was my favorite era. Those three. Yes, I loved PlayStation. Yes, I loved Saturn, Dreamcast, PS2. But I was never as obsessed with gaming as I was during NES, Genesis, Super Nintendo. Seventh, how does a human become an angel after death? They don't. They don't. Humans do not become angels. Humans are already immortal spirit beings inhabiting a meat suit. Once the meat suit's gone, they go back to their natural state. They do not become angels because angels are not human and never have been. Angels can sometimes take on the appearance of humans, but they are not human. Yes, Legend of Dragoon should get a remake. Will they get one? No. Neither will Beyond the Beyond. I tend to keep going back to games that came out a while ago. I just go over the new style of stuff that's coming out. None of it holds my interest because it's all the same thing. Yeah, it's all hero shooters and Fortnite rip-offs. It's all the same stuff over and over and over again. Very little of what was shown was anything new or inventive. They're just regurgitating the same old stuff. Innovation has gone out of gaming. It's all side-scrolling indie walking simulators and stuff made for kids with short attention span to rob them of mom and dad's money. It's just garbage now. It's just the same old thing done over and over and over again. Even Astrobot, which I'm excited to play, I'm only excited to play it because, for the most part, third-person 3D platformers died off. You know, every now and again we'll get a new Ratchet and Clank or a new Mario, and that's pretty much the extent of it. Every now and again, maybe a new Crash Bandicoot, but it's not like it was in its heyday. But even still, that's still an old, tired trope. I'm going to enjoy Astrobot because I like that style of game, but it's not anything new. And I'm not saying that every game that comes out has to be a totally new gameplay style. I'm not saying that. That does need to happen, but not for every game. But when you will go back and look at the Summer Game Fest, just think about how much of it was live service games. You know, co-op and player versus player. Who gives a shit? And the more the industry caters to that because they need to make more money, the less interest I have in playing. And the more that I'll go back towards my old stuff, which is why I don't regret having the Polymega. And I don't regret having this hard drive with 110,000 retro games on it. And why I don't regret having 2,410 physical games. Because I have enough games at this point on PS2, PS3, PS4, and PS5 alone that I could have new stuff to play for whatever amount of life I have left and never have to buy another game. And that is what should be concerning the gaming industry. And that's probably why they aren't caring about preservation. You know, they'll try to nickel and dime by putting a few old games on their streaming platforms. But they don't really want you spending money. They don't really want you playing the old stuff because all they're getting out of you there is a subscription at most. They want you buying the new stuff. They want you buying DLC for the new stuff. No one's making DLC for old games. No one's making new maps for Killzone 3. They want the money. And right now, their best way of making money is putting out a game that's just a bare bones framework and then making you pay bit by bit to add on to it to make it worth having it to begin with. And that's what's killing the industry. And the more they cater to that, less I'll give a crap. If that's the way things are going, probably won't even buy the PS6. If it doesn't have physical, single-player exclusives, I will not care about it at all. Just saying. You watch. Beat 'em and Eat 'em remaster? Yeah, okay. In this day and age? Oh, I'm getting a foot cramp. Charlie, horse my foot. And it's faded away. Oh, that sucked. It's this damn chair. Let's see. I get what you mean, Seventh, and a lot of what you say makes sense. But I meant that art, like video games, borrowed some of what the Almighty created, like grass animals, so it makes me thank God for that. Okay. Surprised you didn't sneak in 1994 because of PS1. Well, for me, PS1 was 95 because it debuted in Japan in 94, but it debuted in the US in 95, but I didn't even start playing it until 97 after the Saturn died. Which do you like more, Secret of Mana or Chrono Trigger? Chrono Trigger. How would you know if... Now, that being said, I do not own Chrono Trigger on Super Nintendo. I do, however, have Final Fantasy Chronicles on PS1, which does include Chrono Trigger, so I have Chrono Trigger installed right here on my Polymega. How would you know if you encounter an angel while you're just a human? You don't. And in fact, the Bible tells you that. It tells you in the New Testament to always be kind to people that you meet, strangers that you meet, because you never know when one of them might actually be an angel in disguise. It tells you that in the New Testament. Can't remember the verse, but it's in there. I like indie games, but I'm also sick of the artsy 2D sims that last an hour. They were once unique pieces of art, but now, ironically, they're all the same thing. Exactly. You know, how many side-scrolling walking simulators come out nowadays that look similar to that one that came out years ago, where you were just like the silhouette of a boy running through the black and white woods, and there were spiders coming after you and stuff like that? How many games look exactly like that now? Nowadays, pretty much the only 2Ds that I still play are Metroidvanias, and that's it. Have you ever played A Hat in Time? Yes, I have A Hat in Time. I wasn't as big a fan of it as other people were. Game industry is fighting over players' 24-hour time slots. Yes. I also feel the same way. I've reached a point where I feel like I've reached a plateau with games because right now I have enough games to last me the rest of my life. Exactly. I mean, look behind me. You know, I have a few shelves left on those three. A few. But most of that is full. Yeah, that's 448 Nintendo carts, 200 Genesis carts, 65 SNES carts, several Japanese Saturn imports, some PS4, some PS5. We own almost 300 PS4 games, over 100 PS5 games, 70 PS1 games, over 100 PS2 games. It goes on and on and on. I could play nothing but my physical games for the rest of my life and not play the same thing twice. That chair putting you in a figure 4 leg lock. Right now it feels like it's giving me the atomic drop because my ass is hurting right now. Ugh, shit. Ugh. I do appreciate everyone that's donated today. We're not there yet. We're still 265 short, but damn. This is not enjoyable. And I can't stream from my recliner. I don't have any way to mount the camera. You know, if I had a place where I could mount the camera to just aim at my head and just, you know, use the PS5 camera, I would do that. I would. But I don't really have a good way of doing that. So it's sitting at the desk. And right now, doesn't feel good. So everyone that's donated so far today, I appreciate it. We ain't there yet. We're 265 away, but I know we'll get there. And I appreciate y'all. PS6 might have physical media, sure. But unless you can actually install it purely off the disk and the system not be online, doesn't do you any good. Doesn't do you any good. 7th, do you feel that of all the gaming fandoms, the Nintendo fan base in particular is the hardest to debate with because they usually tend to guilt trip you into being grateful for it? It can be that way. It can be that way. They think Miyamoto is the Jesus of gaming. What do you do to argue with that? What do humans become when they enter heaven? They don't become anything. They go back to their natural state. An immortal spirit, a piece of God's breath with thought. I have a digital backlog. Yeah, my backlog digital is huge too. On PSN, I have over 1,000 games. All like Metroidvanias and RPGs and stuff like that. Yep, this is the new house. My cavernous gaming room with the balcony up there that is 8th's gaming room. We still haven't got everything set up. As you can see, there's still boxes lying around here and there. When we eventually get all of that set up, then we will be doing a new game room tour video for you guys. But we've still got a lot left to do before we get to that point. Thoughts on Astrobot? I will get it when it comes out. I like 3D platformers. Seems like the Wolverine game that leaked, same type of game as others. Yes, that too. That too. We'll see how that one turns out. I wish I had your game collection. It would fill my apartment. It already dang near fills this house. I've got one wall left to put more shelves up. And then after that, the only other thing that we could do is put shelves up running along the hallway there that leads to 8th's 3 bedrooms. And then even then, that would only be if he would agree to do it. Because he's got shelves in every room up there. And he's got 4 or 5 sets of shelves in the game room alone. And half of that isn't even games. Half of that is just his collectibles and stuff. 8th has a ton of collectibles. Action figures, statues. Most of mine fit right on top of those shelves. And the rest of it is like statues or action figures that are still in the packaging. 8th has these big ginormous... He's got like this big ginormous Godzilla statue. He's got the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or whatever statue of Sephiroth. It's like 2 feet tall, big ginormous thing. He's got that. He's got tons of big tall statues like that, and his game room up there is full of it. Wait till you see it. Wait till you see it. I wasn't exaggerating when I said this isn't a gaming room, it's a gaming house. You'll see. You're going to see. Yes, as you get older, time moves faster. Or at least, time doesn't move faster, but your observance of time is faster. You notice it ticking by more than you did when you were young. Yes, I know who Oh No It's Alex is, and yes, I know who Fratanga are. Don't really care about Fratanga. I actually kind of like Oh No It's Alex because on occasion he'll go after people in a kind of a Trey Brotherhood style of way. And so, for me, watching Oh No It's Alex is almost nostalgic. I don't get that feeling with Fratanga though because of the style that he uses. Seventh, did you ever see the show 21 Jump Street? Yes. I didn't care for it. Because none of the people that were in there looked like teenagers to me. How do you know if you passed on or not, Seventh? Because you won't be here anymore. You will be somewhere else. Today you will be with me in paradise. In the blink of an eye, I'm coming for you. 1 minute you're here, Next minute, you're somewhere else. Going all right, enemy. It's going all right. You know you want a crystal sack. Shut up! Don't you bring up crystals to me. You know how much I miss crystals. Don't you try to troll me with crystals. Don't you do it. I'd give my left nut for a sack full of crystals. You son of a... hello, hi, John Smith. Did you like the Hobbit trilogy better than... No. 8th does. 8th prefers the Hobbit trilogy over the Lords of the Ring trilogy. Not me. I prefer the original trilogy. In fact, I may just watch it tomorrow just for the hell of it. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is another set of films that I'll watch when I can't find something better to watch. The tornado hit some of the houses in the northern side of the neighborhood. Some of the houses around me didn't actually get hit by the tornado. They got hit by the straight line wind front that was going over 100 miles an hour that came from west to east. And so there were houses around me that actually kind of shielded my house from those straight line winds. So they got parts of the roof knocked off and hail damage, and I didn't get nothing. Just my shed blown over. So it was a very near miss. Just 2 miles down the road, houses ripped in half, businesses torn apart. Me, plastic shed knocked over in the backyard. Thoughts on Jin's... Oh, wait a minute. I missed it again, guys. I missed it again. Hold on. 1 hour remaining. At this point, we have had $115 donated towards replacing my computer chair. $265 to go. I appreciate everyone that's donated so far. Thoughts on Gen Z undertaking the daunting task of beating our hardest retro games for bragging rights? Best of luck. Best of luck. Enjoy going to a generation where almost everything was as hard as Souls-like. Have fun. Did you see Adobe's products are going to become literal spot? Yes, I did. I haven't used Adobe products in years, aside from Adobe Acrobat for work. Have you seen the movie Iron Claw? Yes. I enjoyed it, but it's incredibly inaccurate. They left out a lot of things, including combining two of the brothers into one brother. What the hell was up with that? Have you and 8th seen the new Eminem video? It's pretty funny. Yes, we saw it. Glad you guys are okay. Thank you. No, I did not watch The Maze Runner. I didn't have any interest in it. To me, it just felt like more that mid-2000s young adult fiction Hunger Games type of crap. Didn't care to watch it. Is The Lord of the Rings the best trilogy of movies ever? It's on up there. Yes, I saw they're adding Terry and Mai to Street Fighter 6. Farb. What is the best Disney park? Not sure what to buy tickets for at Disney World. Well, the hard part is that they kind of got they've kind of figured out if they wanted people to buy tickets to all four parks, that they had to spread out all their best rides amongst the four parks instead of putting everything in one park. My donation thing just went off, but I don't see a new donation pop up. That's weird. My little sound effect played, even though I don't see a new donation notification. I don't know what happened there. What is the best? Oh yeah. Uh, Most bang for your buck is Magic Kingdom. It has more attractions in one park than any of the other parks. That being said, though, a lot of them are kiddie rides you might not care about. Uh, you really can't get the most out of a Disney trip without buying a multi-park, what used to be called a park hopper. I don't know what they call them now, but it allows you to go back and forth between different parks. I don't even know if they still have that or now. Oh, Hi-Fi tipped another $10. Thank you, Hi-Fi. Here's another 10. I looked at chairs. The good ones are 300 plus. Yeah, I wasn't lying. Thank you. Now we're at 255. 255 to go to get me a decent office chair. For those of you who came in late, 8th's computer chair got broken in the move, and so I gave him my computer chair because he spends more time at his computer than I do at mine. And so now all I have to sit in when doing the 7th cast is one of my dining room set chairs. And these chairs were not built for sitting multiple hours in. My ankles are swelling up, my feet are swelling up, and my ass is on fire. I hurt so bad. But it's what I will do to keep you guys entertained. But in the meantime, donations will go towards replacing my chair with a better chair. Thank you to everyone who donated. Thanks again, Hi-Fi, for the $10. So, try to get a park hopper because, the best roller coaster on the property is Rock and Roller Coaster. It's at MGM, or what used to be MGM, Disney Hollywood Studios now. That's also where the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is, which is one of the best rides. I have heard that the new Guardians of the Galaxy coaster is really good. That's in Epcot, so is Test Track, which are two of the best rides. Then in the Magic Kingdom, you have Space Mountain, Pirates of the Caribbean, and the Tron coaster. And then Animal Kingdom, you have Expedition Everest, and you have the Avatar Flight Simulator. So, it's just all over the place. For you to ride the best rides they have to offer, you have to go to all 4 parks. Sorry. Let's see here. I tried playing Castlevania Rondo of Blood, had to drop it. Old games are hard. It's memorization, man. You just got to learn the patterns. Play it over and over again until you know what every enemy is going to do and when they're going to do it. That's what old school is, baby. That's what it is. Star Wars trilogy was better. Rotten Tomatoes thinks it was better than Lord of the Rings. Well, I like the original Star Wars trilogy, but I got to admit, I kind of like the Lord of the Rings trilogy a little better. Thoughts on the recent Planet of the Apes film? We went to see it. In fact, I think that was what we went to see at Alamo when we had our little event. And, if you like the most recent trilogy of Planet of the Apes movies, it's more of that. It's just more of that. So if you liked those, you'll like it. Ultra Steel. You've already got the answer to that question in your hands. Turn your Bible to Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8. What are your top 5 Metroidvanias from the PS4 era? Ooh. I don't know that I could name them right now. I don't know that I could name them. I can tell you that one of my favorites is definitely Infernax. I loved Infernax. Infernax was great. Have you taken 8th to his first bar yet? No, he goes with his friends to the bar. They have a role-playing based bar that they go to where everyone sits and drinks and plays Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. The bar is made to look kind of old school and medieval looking and whatnot, and then they have stacks of different tabletop games that you can play, and so people will go in there and play Dungeons and Dragons and Call of Cthulhu and Warhammer and all that stuff, and drink. Ever thought about doing a movie review channel? Not really. If I care enough about a movie to do a review of it, I'll just do it on the channel I already have. I don't care about splitting the content up. It's not like I'm doing this for views. You're welcome, Ultra Steel. Best ride of all time I've been on is the Star Wars Edge of the Galaxy ride. Have you seen? I've seen ride-throughs of it, but I've seen a lot of complaints that not everyone gets the primo experience with it because there's always something breaking down in that ride. But I mean, I think I would like it better if it wasn't based on the sequel trilogy. If it had been based on the original, and you were like, the plot of the thing is like, you're kind of following along with Luke to get to the Emperor's throne room, and you get to see animatronics of Luke and Vader having their lightsaber battle, and then you get to escape the Death Star and all that. You could use that. You could retheme that same ride and turn it into, the Return of the Jedi instead of Rise of the Rebellion, and people would love it. People would love it even more than they love it now. Have you ever watched Enemy of the State with Will Smith? Yes. That's that one where it's him and Gene Hackman, right? Yeah, I've seen it long time ago. Me and my friend are arguing over which game was a better game. What do you think, Super Metroid or Castlevania Symphony of the Night? Ooh. I think they're on an even playing field. I couldn't choose between those two. That being said, I guess if I had to have my arm twisted, it would be Symphony of the Night, simply because I've played it more times than I've played through Super Metroid. I don't even currently own a copy of Super Metroid. Of course, I don't own a copy of Symphony of the Night either, not physically. I own it digitally, but not physically. But physically, I don't own either one. Somehow, Super Metroid has been one that has eluded me at the cons. I just haven't found it at a price I'm happy with. Have you heard about Slitterhead? Yes. They showed a trailer for it like yesterday or whatever. Me and Eighth watched it. Eighth is more excited for it than I am. Did you like the zombies in the Ahsoka finale? No. Thought it was stupid. Stupid. 7th, this will be my last faith-based question. Tell me what you know, please, but was the serpent in the Garden of Eden supposed to be a snake of some sort? It never really specifies, other than the fact that the curse that's put upon it is that it'll spend its life eating dirt and slithering around on its belly. And the only thing that I can say there is that when you look at the anatomy of a snake, you can see vestigial remnants of when its species at one point had legs. But that's not me saying that there's scientific proof that the story of the Garden of Eden is true. I'm just pointing out the fact that scientifically there is evidence that snakes at one point walked on legs. Have you looked at the Killer Clowns from Outer Space game? It's basically Dead by Daylight. Yeah, it looks... I don't like that style of gameplay, so I have zero interest in it. I mean, think about it. I'm a huge Evil Dead fan. I didn't buy that Evil Dead game because it's just Dead by Daylight garbage. If you'd given me like an open world action RPG that's based on Army of Darkness, I would eat that up. Or even, based on Ash versus Evil Dead, where you're driving around, taking out the Deadites. That I would love, but Dead by Daylight, screw that shit. Review Tech doesn't believe Symphony of the Night is a real Castlevania game. Do you agree? No, I don't agree. Because you can play through the whole game as... was it Trevor Belmont? You can play the whole game. You can replay the whole game with a classic character, with the whip and everything, and not having all the RPG elements to it that you get when you play as Alucard. So if you want it to be classic Castlevania, you can play it as classic Castlevania. The fact that Rich doesn't know that is kind of surprising. Who is in a worse scenario, the protagonist from The Enemy of the State or the protagonist of The Fugitive with Harrison Ford? They're both kind of in the same boat. I mean, really, all Enemy of the State is more of a modern take on The Fugitive. It was a more modern take when it came out. It's kind of antiquated now. Bugs Bunny or Ash? It's kind of a weird question, Ultra Steel. I can't say that there'd be a legitimate answer to that no matter what I said. Have you played Metroid Fusion? Oh, Game Boy Advance? Yeah. Back in the day, yeah. I don't own it now, I don't think. Maybe I do. I don't remember. Let me see. I owned it at one point. I don't know if I still own it now. Let me see. Oh, come on, phone. Work with me, phone. We got 30 minutes left, folks. 30 minutes and $255 left to go. Let's see. Let me pull up my Game Eye app. My collection value has gone up, by the way. It's now worth $72,877. Let's see. Games. Refine. Handheld. Nintendo Game Boy Advance. Apply. Let's see what I got. No, I do not. I don't own it anymore. I do own some high caliber stuff, like I've got Advanced Guardian Heroes, Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, a couple of Crash Bandicoots, Final Fantasy IV Advanced. Let's see here. Golden Sun. Don't have Golden Sun 2, though. Gunstar Superheroes. So, yeah, Legend of Zelda The Minish Cap. So I've got some good stuff on Game Boy Advance. I don't have near the library that I used to. I used to have over... I even have... I have the game based on Ultimate Muscle for Game Boy Advance. But I used to have over 100 games for it, and now I only have 32. Because I just haven't gotten into handheld as much once I started collecting again. 8th is more the handheld gamer, and he is more interested specifically in PSP and Vita than he is Game Boy stuff. Like, to this day, we have less than 10 games for 3DS. Because he just played Vita and PSP a lot more. Art the Clown versus Freddy Krueger? I think Freddy would still take him. Favorite handheld device of all time? Vita. Believe it or not. Vita. 7th I only asked because when I saw Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, Ash went a little crazy. And I know it all just reminded me of Looney Tunes. Ever watched Divergent? Nope. Heard Aria of Sorrow was the best portable Castlevania game. I don't know about the best game, period. From what you remember, how would Fusion compare to Super Metroid in terms of quality? They're pretty similar. If you find it if you got a Game Boy Advance and you find it at a good price, I would recommend picking it up. I'm a Killer Clowns fan, but I'm not into Dead by Daylight style games. Me neither. I'm teaching myself 3D art with Blender and programming. Well, good luck. My son has Blender. He dabbles with it. Thoughts on Toriyama's death? Nobody lives forever, man. They'll never replace him. There'll never be another one like him. What's the worst CGI in a movie? Mortal Kombat Annihilation. What's your thoughts on the Mario movie? It was so-so. upcoming Zelda movie. It's not out yet, so I can't say. My opinion is if they're not doing it live action, then all it's going to be is a 2-hour cutscene, and I'm not all that enthused about that. Not all that enthused about that at all. Man. Time to swap out my batteries, you folks. Time to swap out batteries. Oh, man. Sucks. This also means that until I get this chair replaced, I'm not going to be able to comfortably play my Polymega either. So I've been talking with 8th about getting a HDMI splitter and running it out of the back of the Polymega down to my my TV, so I can sit in my recliner. I can turn my Polymega on, sit on my recliner, and play Polymega there. Because sitting here, man, oh God. Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, which is better? I was always more of a Mortal Kombat guy. That being said, I'm not a huge fan of fighting games regardless. I'm not big on fighting games, never really have been. Beat 'em ups are another story, but fighting games, never really cared. My wife's rich grandma bought us a trip to Europe. I'll be in Germany and Austria. Any European countries you would like to visit? Not really. Scotland, maybe. Be the closest that I'd care about. Well, Scotland and Norway. I'd like to visit Norway. I'd like to go to Oslo and just hang out in Oslo. They have a retro gaming convention out there in Oslo. The Game Chasers went to it once or twice. I think it's called Retro Spillmessen or something like that. 7th, which did its job for a video game movie better, Super Mario Brothers or Sonic the Hedgehog? I think Sonic the Hedgehog took more risks than the Mario movie, or the 2023 one anyway. The one from the 90s is out there. Oh. Are you excited about Lies of P? No. 8th loved it. 8th has already beat it. I don't care about it because I'm not that big into the Souls-like genre. I'm more into the open world RPG / Metroidvania genres. I have dabbled in some Soulsvanias, but for the most part, it's not my thing. I haven't played Sonic Frontiers. We own it. 8th got the plat on it, but I haven't played it yet. Just another one in the backlog. I mean, I've got a bunch of stuff that's pending in the backlog after System Shock. I got to finish Sandland. I got Eruden Chronicles or whatever, the game that's a spiritual successor to Suikoden. I still haven't started Diablo 4 yet, and I pre-ordered last year the physical edition, the PS5 edition of Baldur's Gate 3. It's supposed to now be arriving in July. That'll last me months. The Uncharted movie was okay. That being said, I think Tom Holland was a bad pick for Nathan Drake. He was too young and too small. After seeing of Army of Darkness, should I watch the Evil Dead remake or just watch Ash? Go straight to Ash vs. Evil Dead, watch all of Ash vs. Evil Dead, then watch the remake. Because the remake is nothing like... It's more like a modern... it's almost like a modern remake of the first film. even though chronologically it takes place later on. It does take place in the same universe, according to Sam Raimi anyway. That's why if you watch the 2013 Evil Dead, stick around because there's a cameo at the very end that you'll want to see. It's very brief, but it kind of lets you know where things were sort of headed, and then got sidetracked by the fact that Ash vs. Evil Dead didn't do all that great ratings-wise. What about Souls games turn you off of them? I don't have the patience for all the memorization and, taking the time to craft the right, get the right weapon for the right boss and that type of a grind anymore. Like, for example, unless it's a classic JRPG that I'm replaying, I'm not going to sit and grind for hours fighting the same fight over and over again, which I know is not exactly what you do in Souls-likes. It's a different type of a grind. And I know that there's, ways to exploit it and speed run it and whatnot, but it's just not my style of gameplay. I can play them, but I don't have fun playing them. Like, I beat Bloodborne, but I didn't like it enough to stick around to plat it. Gotcha, 7. As far as Diablo goes, I like dungeon crawlers, like Path of Exile and stuff like that. I love those. I've been playing them for years and years. Evil Dead Rise was good. Sam Raimi didn't direct it. He produced it. Oh, 20 minutes, folks. 20 minutes left. I didn't say I couldn't play them, Raymond. I just don't enjoy playing them. When I was a kid, every game was like that. You had to memorize boss patterns. And that's what Souls-likes are, is memorizing enemy patterns, knowing when to block, when to attack, when to parry, what weapons to use. The same basic concepts are used to beat the original Ninja Gaiden on NES. The difference being is that you can't really level up Ryu and make him, give him a bigger life bar or anything, because it's one hit and you're dead. Well, no, it's not one hit and you're dead, but I was thinking the other. But you have a set life bar. It doesn't get any bigger, and when you die, you can continue, but it takes you all the way back to the beginning of the level. So once again, it all becomes about timing and dexterity and pattern memorization. And that's what it takes to win a Souls-like. And whereas I can sit down and play Ninja Gaiden, that's a game that you can beat in an hour. That's not playing, 100 hours of Elden Ring. Or, like 8th has done, put 119 hours into Bloodborne, putting over 100 hours into every Dark Souls game. I don't have the patience for that kind of thing. I'm going to be 50 years old soon. I have a limited amount of time left to put into gaming. I'm not going to spend it putting over 100 hours into a game anymore. Gaming market is too oversaturated with a bunch of the same crap. I would love for it to be saturated with a bunch of unique, different experiences, but the sad truth is that most of the stuff out there is the same old junk. Had to shed some light. It was starting to get dark in here. Had to shed some light on this experience. Will you stream next Saturday? I'm going to try. This has not been a pleasant experience for me, guys. My ass is killing me. This chair sucks. I may have to try at least sitting on a pillow next week. How did you beat Sonic 2? There's no saving in over a dozen worlds. You beat it in one sitting. You beat it in one sitting. That's how you beat it. Same as Sonic 1. Same as a lot of games. You beat them in one sitting. What's your rank of all the Ninja Gaiden games, 2D and 3D, worst to best? I'm not a fan of any of the 3D ones especially. I prefer the 2D ones. And with the 2D ones, for me, it was 1, 2, and 3. Because I never beat the third one. By the time the third one came out, I'd gone to 16-bit. So I only ever really played the first two. First one took me a year to master. Then the second one, I beat it the day I got it home because I gotten too good at playing the first one. Yes, I'm going to try to sit on a pillow next week to see if it helps. Because this feels like I'm just sitting on wood. And it is tearing my ass to shreds. I like the new look for your 7thCast. Looking through that window into your background is immersive. Yeah, that's looking into my front yard. My backyard's over there. It's much bigger than my front yard. My front yard's not very big at all. But my backyard is decent size. About the same as the house that I was living in Austin, outside of Austin. But if y'all want to see, let me see if I can show y'all real quick. You know, here's me, right? And there's the wall that the additional shelves is going to go on, and my when I buy a new multicade, it's going to go right there. And well, if I can get, sheesh, there's the front door, and to the left of the front door is where I'm going to hang my Turk 182. And then here's the computer and everything, right? There's the kitchen. There's my 7th arcade. Here's my guitars. There's the doorway to the bedroom, which is currently unoccupied. It's just storage stuff. And I have a little half bath and the door to the garage. Then that's the staircase going up to the second floor. And there you can see a little bit of the entry into the hallway. And then right up there, see that balcony up there? See how it's kind of glowing red and then blue and purple and all that? That's 8th's gaming room up there on the second floor. And then I've got a Cat 5 cable going from the cable modem down to my desk to get internet for this computer, because that was just going to be easier than trying to do it the opposite way. So, there you go. You'll see that in more detail once the rest of all this is set up. You'll get a more detailed look of it. I'm going to do a full gaming house reveal type of deal eventually. But there you go. Now, I didn't like any of the 3D Zelda games for whatever reason. Come on, focus. Focus. See my hand? There you go. I didn't care for them. I didn't care for them. I like the 2D ones. What can I say? I'm old. Wait a minute. Magic powers. Got about 13 minutes left, folks. 13 minutes to go. Once again, thanks to everybody that's donated. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. The pain I go through to entertain you guys, I tell you. I tell you. I don't know that I'll play any more System Shock tonight. If I can manage to get out of this chair once this stream is over. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm going to have the energy to sit and play any more System Shock. I'm probably just going to sit and watch a movie and fall asleep. What's better, Ninja Gaiden or Mega Man 2? Between the two, I kind of prefer Mega Man 2, to be honest. I like its music better. How are the temperatures? I think the highest it's been since I moved here was 94, 96. Hasn't gotten over 100. I haven't played Stellar Blade. Eighth bought Stellar Blade. He really likes it. I haven't played it. Double dribble on NES is an underrated sport. It's okay. It's okay. Kind of reminds me, even though it came out first, it reminds me of Pat Riley's basketball on Genesis. Also kind of reminds me of taking it to the hoop on the TurboGrafx 16. Have you ever tried using your magic powers and made a chocolate fountain in your pants? No. 7th, is it true that the fastest way to sleep is to think of nothing? Well, it's kind of hard to think of nothing, but you've got the general right idea, because if you sit and start thinking about stuff, that will actually keep you awake. Me, I tend to just close my eyes and watch all the little flashing lights behind my eyelids until I fall asleep. All the kind of flashing purple in the black kind of thing. I just watch that, and that usually puts me out. No, I don't use anything to help me sleep. Usually I can be asleep 2 minutes after I take my glasses off and close my eyes. It don't take me long to fall asleep at all. If I can't sleep, it's usually because I'm just really pissed off or upset about something, like when, found out that a tornado had skimmed this neighborhood and was afraid that I'd lost the house I hadn't even had a chance to move into yet. Thankfully, that didn't happen. I posted pictures of the destroyed tool shed on my Twitter. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, when that happened, I took some pictures of what was left of the shed and posted those so you could see them. And I still haven't finished cleaning up all the shingles that fell and that got blown off of other people's houses into my yard. I haven't finished cleaning those up yet, so there's still ripped up shingles lying around in my backyard. Still got a lot left to do. I still haven't managed to get over to the post office and pick up the keys to my mailbox, because in this neighborhood, you don't have a mailbox in front of your house. They have big mailbox kiosks, kind of like an apartment complex, because Texans tend to have multiple cars parked in front of their houses, so it makes it difficult for a mailman to be able to pull into the road and pull up to a mailbox and put mail in it. So instead, they just have mail kiosks, and you just have to drive over to your mailbox and unlock it and get your mail out. What is the best fast food pizza? I think Papa John's is only good with the garlic sauce. I'm not a big fan of Domino's at all. Right now, my favorite would probably be Pizza Hut's version of a New York style pizza. It still doesn't taste like a New York style, but it's the closest that I've had to New York style from one of the established fast food places. 8 minutes to go, folks. 8 minutes left. Get your questions in now. Oh, man. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. 7th, doesn't it suck that people can't go to get pizza or fast food nowadays due to high prices? Yeah, everything's expensive. Everything's expensive. Like, me and 8th went and got Firehouse subs the other day, and the total was like $42 for fast food. $42 for two people. That's crazy. Which ethnic food do you prefer, Italian, Mexican, or Asian? Probably Italian, but I have Mexican and Asian a lot more because there's not that many Italian restaurants. At least in my experience in Texas, I haven't run into a lot of them. And Olive Garden doesn't count. Yeah, $42. If I order pizza for me and Eighth, because Eighth can't just have pizza, Eighth has to have pizza and wings. So, and he likes barbecue pizza. He doesn't like regular tomato sauce pizza. So I have to order me a pizza and him a pizza, and then I also have to get him wings, and then we have to have breadsticks, and the next thing you know, it's 60 something dollars. 60 something bucks for pizza. It's getting ridiculous, folks. It really is. Did you like the Jack and Daxter? I liked the first one. I didn't really care for them after that because they felt like they were borrowing too much from Ratchet and Clank by adding guns to it and stuff. I liked the original one. It was more pure. I'm about to order a pizza. What kind? Well, like I just said, lately all I've been getting is is Pizza Hut's New York style pizza. I'll either get that or I will actually go out and find the nearest authentic New York style pizza place and I'll order from there. Like when I lived outside of Austin, there was a place called Nikki's Pizza that did a pretty authentic New York style pizza, and I'd order from them. I haven't found one here yet. I haven't been here long enough, so I'm still kind of looking. Oh, oh, what a pain in my ass, pun intended. I may, instead of watching a movie, I may just like take a little bit of a nap when we get off here and see if Billy's going to be streaming gameplay tonight. I like to troll Billy from the Game Chasers when he streams by donating a couple of bucks and making him play some of the worst games that I can imagine. Like a few weeks ago, I paid $2 to make him play Sword of Sodan on the Genesis, which if you've never played it is one of the worst games ever made. It's absolutely abysmal. It was a port of an Amiga game that was put on Genesis, and it's dog crap. What's your favorite major Texas city? Probably, well, you know, I liked living outside of Austin. Now I live in a much quieter, smaller town. But as far as just things to do, I'd say San Antonio, because you got SeaWorld, you got Six Flags Fiesta, you've got the Alamo, you've got the Riverwalk, you've got all the Ripley's attractions. It's basically Texas's Gatlinburg. So if I could pick any place, it'd be San Antonio. And San Antonio's housing is actually cheaper than where I moved to, but they also have higher crime, higher temperatures, far more flooding zones, and even though I still have the same job I've always had, their job market isn't as good down there. Hey Sage, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Average rent in Oregon is $1,300 for a 2-bedroom, the sixth most costly. Yeah, I wouldn't live in Oregon. I had a friend that lived there for a while, and he actually left Oregon and moved to California, but it was a deal he couldn't pass up because his father-in-law offered him a job. His father-in-law runs like some kind of a rocket company. They make parts for rockets and stuff, and offered him this cushy job and bought him and his wife a house to live in, like out in Malibu somewhere or something. And so he's like, you know, living what's left of the California good life, I guess you could say. Hope Eighth is doing well. Yeah, he's doing all right. He's upstairs right now. Probably playing a game with his friend or something. Well, the area that I live in, the house was pretty affordable. I mean, it's a 2,300 square foot house. It was $294,000, and a house this big in the Austin area would have cost me over 500 grand. But here it was just, 294. So, I'm very happy with it. 8th is pretty chill, yeah. Unless you really know 8th, if you try to walk up and have a conversation with him, you're mostly just going to get nods and grunts. He'll just be like, And that's mostly what you'll get out of him. You have to really get to know him for him to open up and talk. What state and city would you visit if you had an all-expense-paid trip for 1 week? I'd go back to Gatlinburg and do Dollywood and the Gatlinburg Strip and Pigeon Forge. Or are you specifying a state that I've never been to? Maybe New York City, the clean parts. Do the whole New York tourist thing. Maybe. Don't really have any interest in anything else, to be honest with you. No, 8th is not shy or introverted. He's just a person who doesn't waste words. If he doesn't have anything that he feels is meaningful to add to the conversation, then mostly all you're going to get is a nod of agreement or a shrug of disagreement. Unless you get to know him. If you're his friend, he won't shut up. He'll talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But if you're not his friend and you're just some stranger, it's mostly, I don't really care about Hawaii. Maybe if I was a meth head and enjoyed a tropical climate, I'd visit Hawaii, but I'm not a meth head, so. I don't. Maybe Bavaria. I might visit Bavaria if there was something appealing to me there from a historical standpoint. Anyway, it's 9 o'clock. This is where I have to say goodbye, finally. Oh, God. I'm going to take me some ibuprofen and go sit in my comfortable recliner and get some actual support for my back. Much thanks to everyone who donated towards getting me an actual good computer chair. I appreciate it. We're 255 away from the goal, which is a lot closer than we were when I started. So I will try to be back next week, same 7th time,